la marche. Et il n'avait couvert que 3 tours, Gerhard Berger, le deuxième pilote de la
Alain, you're fourth on the grid. Are you happy with that grid position?
Not really. I mean, it's not a bad position anyway. I mean, in Monaco, it's much better to be on pole anyway. It's very important, and I think the Nigel's position today is very good because he has done a very good time. He get the best car, I think, for this kind of track, and it's going to be very difficult for me to beat him because it's going to be too difficult to pass Piquet and Senna easy the first part of the race, and I mean, we could have many problems, but being fourth today, I'm very disappointed because my car was very good this morning, and I even did not realize the same time this afternoon than I did this morning because of the traffic, and it was impossible. I get very nervous in the car, so I'm not very happy.
So, not too confident for the 28th win here?
No, not at all. I mean, it's not a question of confidence. First of all, I'm nervous about this practice, and I know that the race could be very funny tomorrow because some cars could stop once for tires, and cars could stop twice, maybe 3 times. You never know. If it's very hot, if we have a big problem with the rear tires, with the wear of these tires, we don't know what can happen. So the problem depends of the start, and it depends if Nigel is very quick, and if Senna is much slower than him, and we could not pass him. You know, that could be a big problem. But Monaco is not a race like the others, so you can never know exactly what's going to happen. If I was in pole position today, I would be very confident, but I am not, and I'm obliged to be, wait and see.
Do you think about the 28th win at all?
Yes, for sure. I think that I can win. There's about 5, 6, maybe 7 cars who can win this race, and the problem is you're talking about my 28 wins, about this record. But I'm not thinking about the record, I'm thinking about the championship. So I want to win the race to get 9 points. And if I cannot get 9 points, I will try to get 6 points or 4 points, because I want to be world champion. I have plenty of time to beat this record. I don't want to beat him this race. I'm not obliged to.
Alain Prost at the present time, in my opinion, is the finest Grand Prix driver in the world, probably the finest race driver in the world, and therefore I'm very happy that it's him that's taking it and not someone who I would not have been proud to have it. I remember here at this Grand Prix, I actually beat the title held by Fangio, I think it was, to win 25. And I remember how proud I was of that, and I can only hope that Alain will be as proud to have the greatest number as I was when I beat Jim Clark's record, and I know I felt it as an enormous honour to hold it, so I hope Alain's as happy and proud as I was. I like him very much. That's one of the things that's nice about him taking my record. He's a good friend. We live not too far apart. Paul, my son, spends a lot of time with Alain. We see each other's family quite a lot. He's a very intelligent man. I think that's one of the reasons he's as good as he is today. He's just that little bit more intelligent than everyone else. He doesn't make the mistakes that other people make. He knows that a race is won close to the finish, not at the beginning. And I think that his aptitude and mental ability to control his emotions are probably his greatest assets. He has an enormous ability and natural talent, but a lot of other drivers have that. It's the mental application that's most important. Yes, but I wouldn't have expected him to win his World Championships back-to-back either. He's done that, and he has a very good chance of winning 3 in the trot, and I can't remember anyone doing that. So I think Alain Prost is ready to break records left, right and centre. Incidentally, I think Alain's going to win more than 40 Grand Prix victories. I don't think it'll just be a question of beating my record. He's only 32. He'll win 5 or 6 Grand Prix per year. If that's the case and he wins several this year, it's certainly going to be more than 40 within 2 years. I retired when I was 34, and Alain, I think, could go on much later, as I could have done. If he chooses to do so, then the sky's the limit.
I wasn't last year because I was 4th, but I had a big accident Tuesday, so in our condition it was a good position to start.
What happened in an accident?
The typical accident in Monte Carlo. Christian didn't see me arrive in my qualifying lap, and he moved a little bit, just 1 meter maybe, but it's enough here to have an accident.
And you went over his front wheel?
Yeah, and I fly for a few meters.
And then you jumped straight into the spare car and went out and set a very quick time.
Yeah, because I remained only 20 minutes to use my second set, so I have to walk back very quickly to take my car.
Now, you're using now a spare car. Is that as good as your race car?
Not really, but it's good enough to make a good race. So.
And from 5th on the grid, you feel fairly optimistic?
Yes, we are in the best position to watch the first corner between Mansell and Senna.
Now, you're not meant to be spectating.
Maybe in that case, yes.
Now, you live here in Monaco, don't you? How do you feel about the circuit? Is it a circuit you like?
Yes, it's very enjoyable to drive inside here. With this car it's not really easy because there is too much power, but we must be very precise around these corners, and we can give something to make better lap time. So it's one of the last tracks. Then the drivers is very important. I think.
The car's run surprisingly well throughout the whole weekend. We haven't had any problems. We seem to be getting on top of all the little things that happen with the new car. I think the car will race well. It'll be an interesting first corner with Mansell and Senna on the first grid, the first row of the grid. Who knows? Something good might come out of it.
Things going really well for the Arrows here. What about the engine situation?
I think we're on the beginning of a learning curve. USF&G are putting a lot of money and a lot of energy into the program. I believe in the near future, I hope within a month we will have solved a bit of our problem, but I'm not quite sure. We'll only see it when we get there.
Now, you haven't got any fuel consumption problems here. Is that going to make a difference to your race?
Oh, enormous. The race I had in Spa was successful point-wise, but it was very boring. As far as I was concerned, I had to be so careful with the fuel that I was racing with about 150 less horsepower than I could have had.
So here, the situation's different?
Yes. Much different. I can race as much horsepower as I want. My only fear here is not horsepower, but ruining my tires.
Is it a circuit you like?
Yes. It's one of those circuits where you can give a little extra. You get a big return for more effort. On other circuits, if the car doesn't run, you can put as much effort into you want to. You don't get anything back for it.
People saw you out in the circuit yesterday. They thought, that was the lap, and then you came around and did exactly the same again. Really looked on the ragged edge. Did it feel that way?
When I came in, both sides of my tires were all white from touching the wrong things. I was lucky yesterday. Somebody was looking after me.
avec la Benetton Ford numéro 20. Donc le départ de la suite de la séance. Practice will restart at 13:33. 13:33 practice will restart. That's approximately 4 minutes.
I think they're normally aspirated. Obviously, to an extent, it depends on how well you're doing in each car. And if I'd been used to being at the front of the grid on a turbo car, I probably wouldn't be so happy driving the normally aspirated. But in terms of pure fun, pure driving enjoyment, there's nothing to beat the Courtaulds Tyrrell that I'm driving now. It's just fantastic. Around the corners, blipping the throttle, up and down through the gearbox, balancing the car on the throttle with the opposite lock, and it's fantastic experience.
So what's the disadvantage of the turbo car?
Well, the turbo car still doesn't have the immediate response of the normally aspirated. That's one thing. The normally aspirated, you obviously have got instant power, and you've got a wider power, you've got a wider response band. Whereas the turbos, whilst they're pretty good on responses, I gather now, particularly the Hondas and Ferraris and things, it's still not quite instant. And I think also it's slightly more difficult to balance the power coming on and off the throttle. With the normally aspirated cars, you've got quite a lot of engine braking when you come off, and that helps balance the car going into the corners. You don't have that in the turbo, so I think that's a bit of a disadvantage. Against that, of course, we are about 350 horsepower down, so that tends to have a bit of an effect as well.
What about in the race? Do you think you're going to be competitive in the race?
I think we could be, yes. I think the problem's going to be with the normally aspirated cars, one of overtaking. I'm quite expecting to be able to close up behind turbo cars but struggle to get by them, and I think you'll find that with the leading normally aspirated contenders, that overtaking will be the hardest thing, but they'll probably have more pace than people expect. I reckon 2 or 3 seconds off the front running turbo pace.
So a possibility of points here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the attrition rate here is very variable. In 1985, only 11 cars finished. I know, because I was 11th. And in 1986, I think 13 finished or something like that. So it does change around a lot. Years gone by, 8 have finished. But I think there's an odds-on chance of a normally aspirated car being in the top 6 around here.
Are you expecting to stop for tyres?
I'll tell you after the race. I don't think so, no.
So the only driver we haven't got a time. Nous sommes à moins de 4 minutes for the last 3 years here at Monaco. Nigel out of the car, I'm afraid.
Von 18,491 Sekunden, dritte Alboreto.
Yeah, probably looks like from the outside, but was not from the inside.
Very hard work.
Yes, Monaco, it's together with Detroit the hardest race during the year. And whatever it is, whichever position you are, whichever car you have, it's always very hard. It was easier to win this year than be third last year, because the car was much better this year than last year. Last year was terrible.
Was the suspension good all the way through?
Was working good right from the beginning, and there were no problems. The engine was also working fantastic well, and the tires and the brakes were only concerned because it's very hard circuit on them. So at the beginning I just tried to go as easy as I could to keep them in a nice situation for later if necessary to give attack.
What about when Nigel was leading? Did you feel you could get him or not?
Well, at the beginning we were together, then he started to pull away a bit and I slowed down at the same time just to make sure my tires would be okay. And he pulled about 8-9 seconds, then I pushed a bit and he couldn't pull anymore, and then I started to catch him a little bit only, then he slowed down at that moment. So who knows, it was still a long way to go. Maybe he would even go further away, maybe he wouldn't keep that pace. So it would be for sure harder, but was good.
So how do you feel the suspension's going to react in Detroit now?
I hope better than here. Detroit is very hard. Last year was the hardest one. For the foot, for the hands, for the neck, for the breathing. So hot there, you can't breathe. So for sure it's going to be harder than Monaco, and only God knows how harder it's going to be.